Hello folks, welcome to another video of my FPV adventure number 7. This is the first flight since the maiden flight, and the major change here is I've got it all completed with tape and all that covered up. I've got a canopy cover here, or a canopy, and the biggest thing that I've done here is because I have so much trouble maneuvering on the ground, thinking that this fat flat bottom was going to solve my problem, I decided to do this little modification. I've done this in some of my other jets, so I can make it tossable. It's sort of like a bowling ball hole in the bottom kind of thing there, and I've never done it on something this big and heavy. This plane does weigh 8.5 pounds when it's fully loaded with battery and FPV gear, so I'm gonna have to bring out my football muscles here, see if I can throw this thing far and fast to get it to fly. I don't think it'd be too much of a problem, but we'll find out shortly. Okay, first thing I need to do is check my balance. Okay, it's a little bit nose heavy, so we'll put that back there. Alright, now we're looking good, balanced out. Now we'll go ahead and turn it on. Show all the buttons are forward, trimmed properly. Okay. Looking good. And we'll go ahead and fire it up. Attach one battery, and then attach the other one. What we have here is two 5,000 milliamp 4-cell batteries powering these two monster motors here, which in total produce about 13 pounds of thrust, which is more than enough power to get this thing going and flying pretty quick. I'm hoping that I'll have enough power to be able to toss it, and it pretty much takes over on its own with minimum amount of lift. Okay, check our flaps, elevator, rudder, full rudder. Okay. Now, got a bit of a strong wind today, probably blowing around 10 miles an hour. A few gusts coming out of the southwest, so I'm going to try to position this in the right direction. Oh yeah, this thing is definitely heavy. This is not going to be an easy throw, that's for sure. Hopefully it'll have enough power to get it moving forward enough to at least get it airborne. Definitely has the power, there's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of being able to toss it. There we go. Oh, that wasn't no problem at all. She pretty much took off on her own. Wow, she just wants to climb. That's half throttle right now. Levels it off. Just down just a bit. There we go. We got to trim that. A little breezy up there. I can tell by the way she's bouncing around. She still doesn't have the stabilization module hooked up. It's sitting in the airplane, but I'm not ready to activate it. But to be honest with you, this thing could easily fly without it in pretty adverse conditions. less reliability on automation and more on natural construction of the airplane. Much more preferable. Okay, forgot to start the timer. I'm probably about a minute in. This here is going to be a battery endurance test. I'm going to fly it for 20 minutes, pretty much just in a circle. I'm probably going to edit out most of this flight because I probably bore the hell out of everybody and they'll never watch my videos again. But I wanted to give you an idea how it looked taking off, throwing it. My plan is to fly this at half throttle, which I like to use as a cruise setting. Keeps things simple. You know, your stick is pointing straight up. Even under FPV, you'll know what your setting is. Well, you could use your amp readout on the OCD as a guide, but sometimes those things don't work. So, I estimate that this thing cruises at half throttle, probably around 40 to 45 miles an hour. I haven't had a chance to hook up the OSD yet, and once I do, I'm pretty sure, I've been doing this for long enough time, kind of get a feel for how fast the plane is going, just by looking at it. Little roll sensitive. I think I'm going to have to tone that back just a little bit. Yeah, definitely. Either that or just put in some more expo. It's really what I prefer to do. I want to be able to have enough throw for when I need it. There we go. That's a little better. A little bit more manageable. Don't want it turning like a fighter jet. This plane's designed for FPV and FPV solely, and when you're flying under the goggles, you don't want things to happen too fast because it can be overwhelming, especially for a beginner FPV pilot. From a distance, kind of looks like the old Catalina amphibious airplane from the 40s. I think it was the 40s. Until you get up closer, and then you can see that it doesn't have the little pontoons on the end of the wings. It probably would work nicely on this airplane if it didn't dig into the grass. Oh, it's definitely breezy up there. She's definitely giving it a lot of input to get it to stay straight and turn. Still, it's not anything that can't be handled. One thing is, when I do activate the stabilization module, this thing's going to fly rock solid. It'll be like flying in calm wind even when it's 20 miles per hour. That's got to be a good eighth of a mile away. Even this big airplane, it gets pretty far out there. You can't see it, even visually. I can imagine you folks watching this video now may not see it unless I bank it and get that bright upper side of that wing into the sun. Amazing how you can hide something this big in plain sight. Oh, it's breezy out there. I don't know if you guys can hear the wind. It's whistling into my ears, so I imagine it's whistling in the microphone of this GoPro. Wow, she slows down considerably when you get into the wind. So we got tons of dragonflies here. They must be loving this wind. Very little effort to stay airborne. Okay. Wow, she really cooks downwind. Wow, one click of up trim and she starts climbing instantly. Probably because of that really big elevator. I purposely did that for slow speed control. You don't want a bird this heavy to come in too fast and not be able to control that pitch. I think that's more important than aileron control and slow speed. So far, I haven't touched the throttle at all, just some minor pitch changes when it goes into the wind and downwind with the trim switch. That's about it. Cruises very nicely at half throttle. Definitely a pleasure to fly this thing. It does exactly what you want it to do. Pretty much like a fighter, I'd say. One of my jets. Responsive, yet not quirky like they can be. I think a lot of that's got to do with the big control surfaces. I kind of overdo all the control surfaces, the ailerons, elevator, rudder. Sort of like those 3D airplanes do. Just like the way planes fly like that. That kind of control authority. But it's definitely bumpy up there. I don't know if you folks can see her. She's really bouncing around and the wings are rocking back and forth. The wind gets under that wing. When I turn, it tends to want to roll it. Just like that. You got to kind of stay on top of it. A helicopter flying off in the distance there. There was a shooting at the pathmark about half a mile north of here on Route 9, the old bridge. Guy kind of went nuts and killed a couple of his co-workers and then shot himself. So tragic. Whoops. Want to drop a wing. So this when I do that crosswind turn there, crosswind leg, the wing gets under there, wind gets under that wing and wants to topple it over. And the same thing on the base leg. It wants to push the top of the descending wing further down. Here we're going to probably see a little bit of a wind get out of there and try to roll it. Yep, there you go. And then here too. Right there. I gotta say, I'm definitely impressed with the way this thing handles. Flies very well. Easy to trim out. And this whole time, I haven't touched the throttle at all. Slight pitch changes and trim changes for both the elevator and the ailerons makes this thing fly real smooth. Okay, we're at 11 minutes. I'm going to fly for 20. So we're halfway through the endurance test. And after 20 minutes, once I land, I'm just going to see what I've got left in the batteries, and that'll kind of give me an estimate what my reserve is going to be. Always like to leave a reserve so that when I come back, especially after an FPV flight, my first approaches are never really perfect, and every once in a while I'll do a go around or two until I get the approach feeling really good. And you want to make sure you have enough energy in your battery to do that. You don't want to do a forced landing or dead stick landing. I hate to see a 4-week project go into the tube for a couple of minutes of battery life. Getting some downdraft because she just started to descend and then all of a sudden started climbing, and I did nothing in the control stick to do that. So she's getting some updrafts and downdrafts. Now there she's getting an updraft because all of a sudden she just climbed, but she's not pitching up, she's just climbing up. That's telling me she's riding some thermals. My next test after this is going to be toss test. I want to practice the most efficient way to toss it. I won't do it in this flight, but after this flight I'll be going home and recharging the batteries. I only have 2 batteries and I'm using both for this flight, so I have to go home and charge them up. But my next flight's going to be toss testing. I get a feel for what is the most easiest and efficient way to toss it, so I get a good launch every time. And then after that I'll be on to the FPV tests. High altitude tests, glide tests on the FPV, and then after that's done, then I'll start venturing out a little further once I've got a feel for how the airplane flies and what kind of performance I can expect. We've flown for 14 minutes, 6 more minutes. Now I haven't touched the throttle at all. I still have plenty of juice to stay at the same exact altitude. So I still know I got plenty of power in the battery. Sorry. As my time dwindles down close to 20 minutes, I start tightening up the turns. Stay a little closer to me, just in the event I overestimated what I was going to get out of the battery. So if I had to go dead, I'm not out an eighth of a mile on the way and have to go traipsing through that crop field to pick up my airplane. I don't think that the local farmer would really appreciate that. I try to avoid that as much as possible. I don't want to make enemies. Plus our RC pilots have it hard enough with regulations and everybody chasing us out and don't want us to fly. You don't want to piss off your local farmers. One thing here is the farmers here, they see me flying. I suppose they figure as long as I'm not doing any harm, they don't bother with me. Cops even come by and visit sometimes to watch me fly. I never have any trouble from them. A friend of mine flies in a next town over, and he asked a policeman about flying and stuff, and they said to him, as long as nobody calls and complains and you're not a danger to anybody, you can go ahead and have fun. So I suppose it's just common sense. If you're responsible about it, nobody's going to bother you. Okay, we're at 15 minutes. Now I'm going to start tightening up my turns. Keep it close to the chest, so to speak. Oh, she does look beautiful up there. That's one elegant looking bird. Ooh, got some wind coming off of those trees. Okay, that's kind of weird. I'm not getting any turn radius here. I'm gonna have to land this thing as quickly as possible. Oh, something went wrong. Something stopped working. Oh, I heard a little crunch. Got a feeling that crunch. Something just stopped turning. I mean, had no aileron control. Just happened all of a sudden. I thought it was the wind knock giving it a tilt, but then it turned out to be loss of control. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. It seemed like I landed it pretty flat. It's just kind of flat landed from about a foot in the air, a foot or so. Just the way you see it, kind of just fell out flat. It's just so weird how that happened. I have aileron control. Alright, so we can figure out what the hell that was all about. Wow, can't for the life of me understand that. Okay, let's see how the structure. Yep, she hit slightly nose down. Okay. Okay. It's kind of weird. I see what happened. I overestimated. Just what I had talked about actually happened. Yep, I'm way down in voltage. It looks like one motor cut out and I was getting an asymmetric thrust. That's something you've got to worry about when you've got a twin. I think that considering what happened, I walked away pretty lucky. All I did was have this pop off and a slight dent in the nose, but it's not. Okay. seems to be okay. Yeah, I think we fared very well, considering. Alright. Okay, so I've got to revise my estimate there. Okay, I had 17 minutes on that flight. 18, because 1 minute I didn't turn the okay, got like slight bend in the wing. That happens a lot. I've busted up so many wings that way. All in all, I think she fared very well. Battle scars, learning pains, growing pains. Wing seems to be pretty much intact. No damage to the wing structurally, just a little crumpling of the nose. Not bad. Well, folks, looks like we learned a lot here. I don't know what caused that. Oh, I know exactly what caused that. That's a prop strike. No, it's too far forward. What caused that tear? No, it's intact. Strange. Got a bit of a cut here that wasn't there. I mean, I just taped this yesterday. It looks like the prop might have hit this. Nothing is loose. Interesting. Well, anyway, looks like I have to scratch my initial estimates, and 15 minutes is probably going to be my good flight time. That should give me about 2 minutes of reserve, which I still don't mind. It's not bad. I would have liked 20 minutes, but considering how well she flies, I don't mind at all. It's a full 4 minutes more than my other twin, the smaller twin, which is a little lighter and not as stable as this. So I consider it a decent trade-off. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed it, and perhaps we all learned something from it. Well, thanks for watching, and everybody have a good day.